Welcome back to Harriet's story. This is Chapter 18, and its initial goals are to upgrade the main defenses. Let's see how feisty Randy's feeling. Lastly, please forgive any echo you may hear. A certain someone forgot to turn off his microphone when recording through his speakers. We rejoin our protagonist at 3 hours on the last day of April-May, year 5502. In the previous chapter, the faction founder Krika, of the kinship of Krika, was captured in a vain attempt to rescue Coyote and avenge his dead. He suffered 2 infected wounds, which Harriet is again tending to. Lyons formerly contracted the flu. The disease is getting ahead of itself, so, on doctor's orders, he is commanded to bed rest and will be treated with the best medicine to avoid a repeat of Teddy's death. Over the course of the day, Exec cremates the corpses of Krika's dead combatants. As Juggis I begins, the colonists resow the corn crops as the freezer begins to empty. It turns out part of Krika's warband included his 2 sons. You may have connected the dots by now and realized the significance of that statement. As a result of this, he breaks, goes berserk in his prison cell, and attacks Coyote in a belligerent rage. The captors run to the commotion, drop their weapons, and storm the prison cell to put down Krika. Harriet slaps the piss out of Krika and knocks him out cold. They pick up their weapons, and Harriet tends to their bruising. On the 2nd of the month, at 2 hours, Siza and Adventura also succumb to the flu. They are promptly treated for their illness. The Northeast Dorito contacts Harriet several hours later, requesting that Pixie's dynasty house a few fugitives that are hiding from the Kiliath Mech Hive. Ark's banning salon has not got the defensive rework even started, and Harriet is uncertain that she could sustain the clustered attacks in her current fortifications. Furthermore, with the food storage half depleted and the corn crops barely sown, feeding an extra 8 mouths for over a month could be rather destabilizing. For now, she declines to assist. By midday, with the wood stockpile resupplied, the security traps are rearmed, and extension of the defensive corridor can begin. The bridge between the traps is dismantled to slow the move speed of inbound attackers that penetrate. As progress continues through 17 hours, rain clouds soak the jungle canopy yet again. Meanwhile, the defensive corridor is hooked around the service passage and doubled in length to increase the amount of traps. With the onset of night, Wheel is converting his prisoners. Wolf, despite many of his power rivals having been eliminated, has little consolation for the loss of his boys. At sunup on August 3rd, as Lyons' flu immunity kicks in, a wild cobra predates on a small band of monkeys. Its poison ruins 2 corpses, but succeeds in salvaging the 3rd, which will be scavenged soon by the colonists. In the early afternoon, the Northeast Dorito offer another mission to Harriet. A few caravaneers enter the colony. This time they request she destroy a raiders' camp that has been assailing their caravans. The offenders are merely tribesmen, which is easy enough to handle with 3 elephants and a rhino in tow. The caravaneers do not, however, offer the camp location in their message. Unsure if the camp is within reasonable distance, she presently ignores the message while necessary base upgrades take place. If she is to send a fighter and her 4 war beasts, She would be remiss to leave the colony without adequate security traps. Fed up with his emotional wreck of a cellmate, Coyote gets into a brawl with his chieftain in the early hours of Chuggus IV after having his brain power slandered. Harriet realizes they will need to be separated during their imprisonment. Harriet hears something else as she marches to the prisoners. At this point in her career, she can no longer mistake the sound of atmospheric entry. The day she lost Huckleberry and Teddy will forever be burned in her memory. The Killiath Mech Hive has returned. An incendiary centipede and pikemen land dormant under the cover of a shield generator which prevents mortar fire, an activator with a 3 to 4 day timer, 4 turrets, and a toxic spewer. The colonists coordinate their counterattack for the following morning. They decide to finish their tasks and will begin their assault when they are fresh. Krika is then moved into his new private cell. The colonists, accustomed to death and combat at this point, sleep through what may be their last night. They wake early and eat a hearty breakfast, during which Lyons calls a gathering. Their morale rises and their optimism towards the counterattack swells as they commune with one another. At 6 hours, they move out to meet their maker. Even Slag is brought out. Despite his pacifism, he is still capable of rescuing any downed friendlies. He takes cover behind the toxic spewer as the gunners position themselves to the south. They spread out behind tree cover, send the beasts in on the mechanoids, and prepare to obliterate the turrets. And at 7 hours, they pull the trigger. Ultimately, only minor bleeding is suffered on the animals, and Lyons takes a handful of grazes. They destroy the toxic spewer and claim victory. The scraps are hauled as they return to headquarters. Everyone is subsequently cared for where needed. Lyons returns to the battle site to dismantle the surviving shield generator of the Mechs and extracts a shield core. Unsure of when this will serve a purpose, she has no doubt it will come in handy. Late that night, the second half of the security corridor is further designed. By the following night, the main defense line is complete. All that remains is duplicating the river gaps. On On the morning of the 7th, as visitors from the Abunbavexa Union look in on the colony, Harriet substitutes her shooting frenzy for taming interest. Unfortunately, she hasn't even got the skill to entice a tortoise, so she won't be a Disney princess anytime soon. Wheel greets his guests and sells them all the tribal weapons and tattered apparel in stock. Soon after, another Abunbavexan comes to greet his allies. And it is here that we will make the cut in the chapter. I've never seen some of these mech attacks before. They're very interesting. Next episode, the colony will endeavor to finish research on microelectronics and then upgrade 2 hospital beds. While they develop their tech, the existing structure will be spruced up. That is, if Randy allows it. Thank you all very much for watching. Like, sub, ring the bell, and as always, I hope you are safe, healthy, and fulfilled. And I will see you all on the next one.